if we look at the Brookings Institute research, what we're saying is that these kids will physically not be in material poverty if they're able to learn these things now, which I think is really exciting. If every community were willing to play the long game in this way, would we see an impact on the poverty numbers worldwide in a way that the government and a program would not be able to do? Welcome to the pod at My Village,
where we're going to have fun talking all things My Village Ministries, family preservation, and the church's involvement in this important work.
We are Phil and Mel, and we don't know anything about running a podcast. We do know a little bit about family preservation. Here we are. Phil, how much of the World Cup are you watching?
Percentage-wise?
Yeah, are you like USA only, or do you have a few teams? Do you watch it every night when it's on?
I always root for the underdog.
Who is that?
Whoever's like
in every single game.
Yeah.
You root for the underdog.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
So the USA.
I'm not rooting against anyone like Brazil or
Yeah.
the countries that.
This is a quick example.
Venezuela, yeah.
Has some things to say about
Argentina. Argentina with Messi.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Messi win.
Yeah.
But
it was pretty sweet watching him score a hat trick.
Who cares about soccer?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I care a lot.
I'm way more content. Ben and I was just talking about contentment. And I was telling him how much I wrestle with. I actually realized I'm not as content as I thought I was. Because I read Philippians 4. And I was very convicted by it. And I realized that like 24% of my contentment is wrapped around what kind of food I've been eating recently. This has been good or not. But I'm coming in content today because the past 2 days for dinner, I made some really good meals.
You're just really proud of yourself. You look really proud of yourself.
I am proud. So no need to talk about football.
Wait, what were they?
/ soccer. Well, wasn't yesterday, the previous 2 days. So 2 days ago, I had dinner with the Carruthers. Mm-hmm. And I make these like really good Asian tacos. They're just, they marinate in goodness. The chicken marinates, and then there's like a slaw, and then
that is why Asian tacos are good.
But then I make a peanut. I would tell Ben about this. Actually, me talking to you was like, I wanted to make this for them when they come over. But a peanut Thai sauce that you could just dip anything in it.
Can we stop the podcast now and go cook?
Oh, it's so good. But the slaw, the secret ingredient in the slaw that I make, it has like soy sauce and ginger and stuff, but it's mint and cilantro.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
It's really good.
I went to Hudson 29 the other day with some girlfriends.
Yeah, I've heard that's
this Thai steak salad, and it had mint and cilantro in it and pineapple. And North Star used to have a salad that had both. It was called Citrus Crunch, and it had mango in it too.
Yeah, that would be good.
It was so good.
Yeah, that is lethal, man. Mm-hmm. And if you marinate chicken thighs, you're not going to overcook them, so you're always going to get a good product there with the chicken. Yeah. So, but then 3 nights ago, dude, I make this like every 2 years because it's a little bit labor intensive. But it's a burger, and
is it the one where you put butter in it?
No, but it's a smash burger.
Okay.
And bacon obviously is going to go on it.
Obviously.
Yeah. But then here's the crazy stuff that goes on it that you may think may not be good, but it is the greatest thing you put in your mouth. Like a top 7 thing you ever put in your mouth.
I love that this podcast is like 50% My Village, 50% food. Like we're just gonna become like a foodie.
No, there's
not like high tier foodie.
It's like 54% and like MDM family preservation, 41% food, and like 3% hills and sweet potatoes.
What
are those? Which is also food.
We need to bring back hills.
There's like food and then sweet potatoes, like all separate categories.
That's true. I didn't even blink when you said that. I was like, that makes sense.
That checks out. Ben caught
it. Okay, tell me, there's bacon?
So anyway, smash burger, bacon. It goes on a sourdough bun. But then you take fresh mozzarella, like the balls, and then you slice them thick. But then you coat them with like a breading, a gluten-free breading that I coated them in. And you deep fry it on both sides to where it crisps up the breading, but then makes the cheese look like gooey.
Yeah.
But then you
kind
also
of like a mozzarella ball instead of stick.
Yes, correct. Then you grill fresh peaches.
Okay.
So those go on it, and then you just top dip. You don't want to put mayonnaise, mustard. That ruins all.
Yeah.
What you top it off with is a reduced balsamic glaze. Mel, then Dude,
so happy right now.
It secures your salvation if you eat it.
People need to watch this episode on YouTube just so we can see your face.
No, and you see why I'm so content coming in today, because I'm coming off of 2 strong dinner days. So.
Yeah. Okay,
But that's an indictment on my inability to find full contentment in Christ.
Yes.
Philippians 4, I'll have Philippians 4, 11, 12, and 13.
Super briefly, I will say, I have found the same thing. It was like one of the most challenging things about fasting is it like pings your sin nature, where you're like, how much of my joy was coming from eating today?
Way too much.
Way too much. Like, why is there nothing to look forward to today now that I'm not eating? But I will also say that the question I was going to ask you was, and so you just, maybe it will be one of these 2 meals. Like, if you were going to have a food truck, what would be the name of it and what would you serve? Because food trucks are usually like Chick-fil-A, like they're specialized to like a couple things.
Yeah, Food-Filled Friday.
That's what it's called.
I'm serving on Friday.
Is every word PH? You only serve it Friday. Yeah. Food-Filled Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, what's in it?
Something easy.
I knew you would have an answer. I knew you already thought of your food truck.
No, just the Holy Spirit came to mind.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna find you like a journal of yours someday, and we'll be like, sketch of your truck.
Dude, you know I can't journal again. Carpal tunnel. You like did it 7 words
in
the
writing. Sketch?
No.
Okay, it'll be a whiteboard that's like dried in place.
No, I have always thought though, like a breakfast taco food truck would be really easy and not hard to make good.
Yeah.
Like, who doesn't like chorizo?
Right.
Right. Eggs and chorizo, like good potatoes you throw on it. Can't go wrong. Right, Ben? You could have sweet potato base, actually. I've thought about this, you know. Kind of like, it's like my skillet, but like.
So they do tacos.
In a taco.
Corn tacos. I'm assuming.
Yeah. And you can also obviously make burrito.
Sure.
Yeah.
Breakfast burrito.
Yeah, dude. Why not?
I have several burrito bombs in my cupboard right now.
I sensed them.
Did you?
They're
leftover from when we were in the cabin.
Hey, but bring it full circle.
Yeah.
Back to football.
Yeah.
All the videos of like Europeans trying American food.
Yes.
Is amazing.
Just in general, like raving about it.
Yeah.
Like,
one, how good it is, and 2, how much you get.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always one of or both of those things, 1 or 2 of those. Or both.
The videos, have you seen the one of them in the Buc-ee's?
Yeah.
They're just like your gas station. That's not all of our gas stations.
Yeah.
Just Buc-ee's.
Well, I mean, I feel like out of obligation, what's the best movie you've had in the past 3 days?
That's one of my questions.
No, it's not one of your questions. Just curious.
Oh, the best
one?
No, it was that. No, I haven't made quinoa this week.
Wow.
It was that steak salad at Hudson 29. It was so good.
That was within the past 3 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I just enjoyed myself so much the whole time I was eating it.
Were you giggling?
Can we go get it right now?
Have you ever giggled when you eat because it's so good? Just giggling to yourself? I've
It's a weird
doing that every now and then.
Yeah.
I find him giggling as he watches his sweet potato cook in the microwave.
We just walked by.
For 7 minutes.
Straight in the microwave and giggling.
Yeah. I see the radiation just deteriorating off of the microwave because he stands and looks too close to that.
What's the likelihood that you will actually have a food truck someday? If you were to give yourself odds.
Like 4%.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think you'd enjoy that as a retirement? You only do 1 day a week.
What I would enjoy more is would be like on just like occasionally like a bed and breakfast where it'd be more something like that.
Yeah. Which is why our goal is to own a retreat center at someday.
Yeah. And
you'll make breakfast for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
Which is part of the reason why I wanted to hire Jess Napolitano. She had bread and breakfast vibes. But then when she didn't fulfill it to the fullest, that's why we fired her.
When at no point during her job as development director for MBM did she start a bed and breakfast. I was disappointed and fired her.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure the fans are that clear.
No, she did contribute a lot of tasty morsels
She did.
during staff meeting and just days.
Yeah.
I miss Jess.
I miss her.
She's on vacation right now, I think.
Really? Is it her beach trip?
I don't know.
Why are you more up to date with her life?
I just texted her the other day, yesterday.
Were you trying to get her to come back again?
I was like, have you thought about starting bed and breakfast?
You thought about being the events coordinator for MBM?
Yeah.
Anyways, I've asked you my first question. Do you have a real question for me?
Wait, what was the first
question?
The
food truck. I had it written down as a question, and then I had to ask it right on the heels of
that one. Wow.
you sharing.
Tee that up.
Yeah, sharing those solutions.
So
anytime I have a question prepared about food, I know that there will be a natural.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, you're like, yeah, that's smart.
Thanks.
Mike, I have 2 questions for you that neither one of them are going to be that serious at all.
My second one is tied to our topic, so you go ahead.
Okay. So it's 1,000,000 degrees out right now.
Sure is.
Literally, yeah, it's so hot.
There's like the extreme heat advice. During the soccer game last night, they were like heat warnings.
Yeah, I saw that till Friday.
Yeah.
It's like for the next 4 years. When it's super cold outside and you go out and like your nostril hairs like immediately freeze.
Yeah. You can, like,
what's the equivalent to that when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside?
I mean, sweat.
Such a bad answer.
No, I think it's the air. This might be like just humid heat, but the air feels like thick to breathe it.
Yeah.
You like go out and you can like taste the heat in the air.
You like taste asphalt because it's like melted off and floating in the air.
When you get in the car and you're just like, what is the temperature that people die at? Is it in the inside of my car right now? But sometimes I have to remind myself with extreme temperatures that people do just like live in that all the time. Like there are places in Africa where you just live in that and you survive. Yeah. Our friends, the Grassers, is that their last name?
Yep.
They were living in a country in Africa with no AC, and it was just like, I remember her sharing one of the hardships for her was just being hot at all times. Like there was never relief from it.
No reprieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or somewhere really cold. Like people do just adjust to this. Yeah. And so you feel, even yesterday when our kids were all playing outside in the heat, and you're like, gosh, we got to get them out of the heat.
They were out there for a long time.
Yeah. We get them sprinklers. They were fine.
Yeah.
There was shade. But you just remind yourself, like, it feels that we have comfort at our fingertips so often that you feel like you need rescue from it immediately. But actually, people do live in
soft.
That. Yeah, we are soft.
Yeah.
Our kids are really soft.
Yeah. And their kids are going to be extremely soft.
They're just going to wear like a temperature-controlled suit around everywhere.
A giant bubble. Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you the second question before you, because we need a transition. You'll appreciate this because you have your annual couch day where all you do is just live it up and watch a lot of TV and games and have fun as a family.
I work hard all year to earn that.
I know you do. Yeah. You have one day off all year, paid vacation for that. So you have a Saturday free.
Okay.
And you're gonna binge on, it has to at least be a trilogy.
Okay.
It could be more.
It was all like one series.
One series of, like Lord of the Rings or something, but it has to be more than a trilogy or more. What's the one you're gonna binge on? You can do, I actually want you to name one that's not animated and non-animated.
There's a trilogy that's animated?
A lot.
So
many.
Oh, is this what you guys were talking about this the other day? Cars, the Spins.
Yeah.
Trilogy.
Cars is, yeah.
But then you add in Planes.
Well, Planes is technically, when you look it up, Planes is part of their, it's not, what's it called when there's 5?
5G.
5G? Yeah.
Wow.
5G.
You guys are so smart. Yeah. Okay, my non-cartoon one has to be, I'm torn between Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter.
Okay.
I love them both. But Lord of the Rings so my family, I grew up in a Christian homeschool family, so we all read Lord of the Rings when we were very young. I don't know if even my oldest children are at the reading level of Lord of the Rings. We were reading them at 5. Just kidding. My kids are good.
Product of homeschooling.
Yes. We had lots of time to read. But when the Lord of the Rings movies came out, we went and saw the midnight showings. Do you remember when they used to do that? Like at 12:01, the day of the release, you could start watching it, so there'd be a line. Yeah. Now, I'm not into dressing up in any way, so we did not dress up and go to the movies, but we went to the movies at midnight.
I feel like Jeff thought about dressing up one time.
Yeah, Jeff's a little more in the realm of he'll wear like a quirky Lord of the Rings t-shirt.
Yeah.
I won't even really do that.
Yeah. He's not going to wear like a Gandalf hat.
He would not, or big ears or something like that. We don't fall quite into that category.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, I think, is probably what I'd do.
Now, would The Hobbit and all the other ones be included in that?
No, I mean, I would. I've watched those movies.
But what do you think?
But if you were
the
letting
three?
me pick my favorite ones, it would be the 3
Yeah.
original Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah. It's a good answer. That's a long day, even with 3. Because they're
Yeah.
each. Is there one that's under 2.5 hours? They're all
I don't
close
think
to
so.
3,
And
right?
they have like extended cuts released now. They're like 3.5 hours.
That's a 9-hour commitment right there.
I don't know if I could actually do all of them in a row without. I'd have like my planner and computer in my lap doing the
What
other
if you
stuff.
knew there was a really good food item waiting for you between each one, but you had to finish it?
Then that would be
like
then
like
that
a-
would be okay.
Okay.
I need to go on like walks between them to like rebuild it. Cartoon trilogy. Can you give me some examples?
Oh, Toy Story,
Nope.
Cars.
Nope.
Um,
It would have to be funny. Is there a funny one?
what are other ones?
Toy Story, Cars.
No, it's not that funny.
There has to be more that we're just not thinking of.
The funniest.
Despicable Me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are pretty strong.
This is not a trilogy, but one of my favorite cartoons of all times is Emperor's New Groove.
Oh yeah, that is
We
good.
talk about
Actually, I
comedy.
know what mine is. It just came to me. That is, we haven't named
That's
it.
a trilogy?
Yeah.
What?
How to Tame a Dragon.
Oh, How to Train.
How to
Yeah.
Train. Yeah. Dude,
Did you
those
see
are
the live action? It was good.
Yeah, it was good. It exceeded my expectations.
Those
yeah,
are really well done.
They're really well done, and I feel like each one actually gets better
It is a
as
trilogy.
opposed to
I thought there was only 2.
no, there's 3.
Emperor's New Groove, Rio, and the original cartoon Robin Hood. Could I pick that as a trilogy?
So good, dude. They're OG Robin Hood.
Lady Cluck. Come on.
Gosh, man. Yeah, dude, that is so good.
It was so good.
That was one of my favorites growing up.
Oh, yeah. It was such a good mixture of like funny and classic
Yeah.
Disney.
And there's something about the animation of it that I appreciate more than today's animation. Even
Yeah.
though it's-
It was like it was better than Snow White,
yeah,
but it was like before it started getting
Yeah.
like too much.
correct.
I don't know. So that's a good way to describe it. All right. Are you ready for my much better question?
Yeah, and mine are the one you asked
Then
previously.
all question.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. It's not that good. No, mine is more serious. And leads into our topic, I think, pretty well. You and your family made a decision a number of years ago to intentionally live in an under-resourced neighborhood. What, over the years, and maybe you have a couple, but what was kind of like a big or the biggest aha moment for you as you truly were walking a relationship, not serving, not hanging out with occasionally, but like those are your friends and neighbors. What was the big aha moment for you?
One of the bigger aha moments that happened pretty early on. This may not be the biggest one, but how deficient a lot of the kids were in reading, and then that sent us kind of down this rabbit hole, discovering that we all know the statistic now, though. But if like a kid doesn't read by the time they're in 4th grade, the likelihood that they end up in gangs and prison, you have to compromise a lot because you're deficient in that one pretty necessary skill of reading.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty big aha moment.
What would be your like off the cuff answer to why they were deficient in reading?
Well, I do think part of it is a lot of them did not have dads that were present in their life.
Yeah.
Most didn't have a dad in the home. And how engaged those dads were. I think that just puts a heavier burden on that single mom.
Right.
To try to make,
She's
because
trying to do
there's
all
obviously
things.
schooling, and some of the schooling wasn't great, which played a factor in it, but then how much can that single mom actually supplement for what they're not getting at school to help with reading? So,
yeah.
but they even say that even if you have books in your home, like you're just a better reader. Like just the presence of books.
Access to books.
Yeah, and most did not. So we did like this reading program. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get into it. Kind of got it. We ended it.
Yeah.
But for 2 years we did that, and it was really cool. And what was really neat to see is that we were actually like kids that were in the reading program. By the second year, I think there was 8 or 9 in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one, so we kind of took the mentoring approach. One adult with one kid, hanging out with them, helping them read specifically. And then we do fun activities. But there was kids bringing home notes from teachers saying how much they were improving in reading.
Wow.
Just by us hanging out with them reading once a week.
Wow. And none of you were like Becky Old has this training and
none of us know how.
You don't have
we just would read with them.
Yeah.
And so
What did their parents think of that program?
Oh,
do you know?
They were appreciative that we did it. We did that year. The first year that started about a year after we moved. this was 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it closed down, us doing it. We really wanted to keep doing it, but yeah. It's really sad. That was actually I was really saddened by the fact that we couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That was a big, I would have never guessed something that seems as simple as that.
Yeah.
Can play such a huge factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's this deficit that you can't make up for in a schoolroom and the amount of hours you have with 25 kids who are all facing different things. So it makes sense that it would be a significant portion of it is what's happening in the home. And if mom is trying to wear all the hats in the home and in the survival of, I just got to get dinner on the table and recover from my day. And it's hard to. Yeah,
it is tough. It's really tough. What I loved about that too, it is, as we go into this conversation with poverty, is it's great to give people things. It's needed from time to time, but that was not a thing we were giving. It was relationship and development, helping them as a person. You know what I mean? So
being with them.
That in itself was valuable. Just being able to it gave us an excuse to intentionally hang out with them. Not that we weren't hanging. In the OG days before we had kids who were, we had to make a rule, I think you know this, on Tuesdays, no one's over.
Yeah.
Because our house was just a revolving door of kids. Yeah. God just gave us a lot of favor. And praise the Lord, that's pretty obvious. That's oftentimes, they just want to have fun. Kids just want to have fun, and we're willing to have fun with them. So.
Yeah. One of my favorite things I've ever heard about reading, even with older kids, is that as your kids get older and they diversify in their friend groups and in their personalities and interests and stuff like that, maybe if you have especially a larger family, but probably even if you have a couple kids, is when you read together, you have a time of the day where everybody's on the same team. All of you are rooting against the bad guy in the story, and all of you are rooting for the protagonist.
Yeah, that's good.
And so, in my household that has very different personalities and friendship groups and stuff between the 4 kids that are predominantly hanging out together still. There's this time of day where we're all on the same team, and it can be so unifying as an activity too. And we talk about reading too in our training when we're talking about building connection with kids.
It's a great way.
There's something about being on.
So none of your kids, when you read a book, were like a contrarian that would vote against, would cheer for the bad guy?
No. Although Charlie's, did I ever tell you this? We asked Charlie when he was little, I'm so happy that this is tying so many things together, who his favorite character was in Lord of the Rings. And his favorite character was the Eye of Sauron.
Wow.
He was like, that eye that's on fire?
It's not really a person, but
No, they always, when we read a book, they're always rooting for the same character. But
that's funny.
Charlie was a contrarian in those movies.
Me knowing Charlie better now than I did. I appreciate that. That is his answer.
Not even a little.
It checks out.
But it's not like we watch Marvel movies and he's rooting for Thanos or anything. He roots for the good guy.
Yeah. Well, before my Bible's not out just to impress people, although I hope if you're watching YouTube you are impressed because I have the Bible next to me.
You do like to impress people with your Bible.
Yeah,
and shape
a physical Bible.
Physical Bible.
Too many people don't have a physical Bible. No, maybe to launch into this third conversation on poverty.
Yeah.
I'd just love to hear what were some things that stood out to you as we had those 2 conversations with Eugene. Anything?
Yeah, I haven't re-listened to the second one, so it's hard for me to remember everything in the moment. But I listened to the first one. One thing that's cool, I already told you this, but Jeff and I were talking about. He's a faithful listener to the podcast. Praise the Lord, we got the spouses in. Yeah. Is Erin still listening?
It's hit or miss.
Yeah, that makes sense. She doesn't love you quite as much as Jeff does.
No, that's for sure. Thanks for rubbing that in. Reiterating.
I'm not a good friend.
Yeah, just salt in the wound.
No, Jeff and I were talking about it, and he was like, man, the stuff that Eugene was sharing was just revolutionary.
Yeah.
Let's sell everything and go live off the land somewhere, give it all away. But I think it reminded me of why we're having these conversations. Is there's stuff that we talk about inside of our office all the time that I'm not even talking about at home with Jess all the time.
Yeah.
And granted, we have a lot of dynamics in our life, and so there's a lot to talk about. We don't always get to it all, but I was encouraged again by this idea that when we're digging into biblical principles about what it is that we're doing and talking about it in a way that others can hear, I hope it is blessing them and offering a new lens to how we're thinking about those that we serve. And I think the thing that really stuck out to me the most was when he was talking about his story and how if somebody had come to his dad and tried to give him some kind of handout, that would have been offensive to his dad who was working 3 jobs.
Busting his tail,
Yeah, and he had a lot of dignity in his poverty.
Yeah.
He was living well in community, and how we would describe poverty from
materially poor.
Yes, materially poor. They were living healthily in community. They loved the Lord. Mom and dad were working hard. Kids were engaged in family work together, and they didn't need a handout.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it was such a good reminder to me that we make assumptions about poverty that we shouldn't be making.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that a lot of families could learn from how his family was materially poor.
Yeah.
And then that he has gone on to bless and serve others through that lens and that context too, I think is cool.
Yeah, you can tell, and we know this is to be true of Eugene, he has a lot of compassion and understanding, and it's evident in the ways that he talks.
Yeah, and I think listening to both of you, there was a lot of scriptural backing and understanding for everything that we were talking about that day.
Mm-hmm.
He's, in this story and in this story, and he's like, the Good Samaritan's a good story, but it's not just a story.
Yep.
Did you have anything in particular that stuck out to you?
No, that was really cool. I would say the same thing. The story of his dad.
Yeah.
It was really just his story in general is really interesting. His background of this weird combination of cultures that impacted his life and his view on life.
Sorry, was that offensive for me to say Amish?
No, probably not. There's probably some Amish sprinkled in there at some point in his life. So, yeah. Anyways, no, it was. So we want to build off that conversation a little bit and talk about some practicals that hopefully can equip the church to be really effective and intentional with it, with engaging with these families that are in poverty. Yeah. And when I say in poverty, really having a lens of materially poor, but also socially bankrupt in some ways. And so we're going to go into that with a little greater detail. But what I want to do is to start off with Isaiah 61. I think this is a very dignifying passage. You know this, Mel, but mainly for our audience, but a very dignifying passage for those that we are blessed to serve, which many are by the world/government's definition materially poor in poverty. So family of 1, you're right around $15,000 a year. Family of 4, you're $33,000. So again, the United States government defines poverty by a number.
Yeah.
Define that financial
How
number.
often do they redefine that? Because
I've noticed it increases over the years.
Yeah.
But anyways. But that's their lens for poverty.
Yes,
it's a financial number.
And if you're $1 over that, you're not in poverty in their lens.
And just a small side note before we jump into Isaiah 61. What I'm encouraged by as we've engaged more with Chalmers Center, even having a conversation with Eugene, I think there's kind of 2 main areas of poverty that I think Chalmers would even say that they focus on. It's social poverty and financial poverty, materially poor, which I hope that we address pretty well and intentionally. And we're going to get into those details a little bit later. Yeah. But Isaiah 61, it's a really cool passage here. So this is essentially prophesying about the story of, I need to be praying for people.
Yeah, that was an extra way to
people are so
Phil's alarm to pray for people. Andy's holding a Bible right now.
Wow.
Just so you guys
Is there a glow? No, so this is essentially it's a prophecy of what's going to take place in the story of Nehemiah, the walls being rebuilt, and those that were what's the word I'm looking for? Taken into slavery and exile, returning back to Jerusalem, where it goes on to say, worship to worship God as one man. So Isaiah 61 verses 1 through 4. We know this. We know. I think we mainly know most of these verses from when Jesus quotes it. I think it's in Luke 4. Has that right been? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Luke 4.
Isaiah 61 though says, "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated, and they will renew the ruined cities that have been devastated for generations." So whenever I teach on this, there's one key word that sticks out to me, which is, do you remember? Ben, do you know?
They.
Have you ever? It's they.
They.
So it's talking about.
Can we edit that out so that I knew the answer?
Yeah, we'll go back to it.
And
they, yes, they. But just go back to where it says they. So it says, "They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long, and they will renew the ruined cities." Who's they then?
The poor.
It's those. So when you think of this story where the exile were taken into slavery, and those left behind, what scholars say, the main reason that the remnant, they weren't good enough to go into slavery. Yeah. And it's predominantly they who did the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem. It's not like they brought in this outsider or this people group that had more means and maybe more abilities to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. He wanted they to be referred to as the oaks of righteousness. He wanted they that were considered by many on the outside not even good enough to go into slavery, but to be used by God to restore the people of Israel back to Jerusalem. And that just stacks up to other things you see in Scripture. He uses the foolish things of this world to shame the wise. He always loves to flex his strength in those that are weak, considered weak, And they didn't have a lot. Yeah. Even from like a financial standpoint, they didn't have a lot to offer. And it was they that he used to restore the ancient ruins, to restore the walls. And because of that, like it goes on to say, they will be considered oaks of righteousness. Yeah. And so, any
the upside down kingdom.
Yeah.
Like so opposite of how our world views things.
Yeah.
And how much of our time and energy goes into not being the impoverished and not being weak. Yeah. And even though we know scriptures like his power is made perfect in our weakness, we spend so much time avoiding weakness and trying to grow out of weakness and create like a self-reliance and self-dependency.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, I want to read again what it says. "They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor." If there was some skilled, more well-means people group that did the work, they'd be like, "It was all me. Yeah. We get the glory." Yeah. But because God used the foolish things of this world, it was his power on display. And so not only did it honor and dignify that people group, it brought God much praise and glory. Yeah. And like it says, they came back and then worshiped God as one man. All of Israel. That's what it says in Nehemiah 8, I believe. The reading of the law, they came back, the reading of the law from Ezra to the people, and they all worshiped God as one man. Yeah. I mean, and God used, again, the foolish things of this world to do that. The people that did not make sense. And he got the praise and glory because he used them. And where does this translate to us in our ministry? Within my village, we're not the saviors. We shouldn't have the view coming in thinking that we can, again, fix them. But they actually have the ability and capability, because of the power of the Holy Spirit, to be used in their own life to bring about some significant change. Now, does God want to use us to help them and to support them and be the brother that is raised up in times of adversity? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. He wants us to, and there's multiple times, you read it from Genesis to Revelation, that as the church, we are to care for the materially poor and to support them. But God believes that he can do mighty things through them. Yeah. And when we have that lens, it helps us honor and dignify, much like what Eugene was talking about. And while they may be materially poor, we can meet some of those needs, but we also need to have the lens. What will we do to not enable, but to empower them, to see them as an image bearer to the King, and they're capable of doing pretty much anything because God is powerful.
Yeah.
And it's not us to get the praise, but it's God. And when we can support them and love them and encourage them in that way, they will be the people that are referred to as the oaks of righteousness, the display of the Lord's splendor. So, any other thoughts there?
Well, it's just so easy to slide back into getting that backwards. We're so immersed in a culture that is not thinking that way, that if we don't intentionally redirect ourselves to truth from Scripture in this way, even if you've been doing ministry with those who are in poverty in a very dignifying way for years, it's easy for us to slide back into seeing them the way the world sees them, and to forgetting that they're image bearers of Christ. And, I do think that that's one of the ways I feel most blessed by doing the work of My Village Ministries is how much it has changed my perspective to walk in relationship with families that are materially poor. It just has revolutionized the way that I think and believe how the world works.
No, that's good. And I think I'm going to make a statement that I think we all feel the tension of within a ministry like My Village, is kind of threading that needle well, of like, what do we do for them as opposed to what do we do with them or alongside of them? Because there are times and moments and seasons where people need us to do things for them. And again, that's God's heart. Again, God, Jesus, in John 3, if anyone has any material needs and sees a brother, or if anyone has any material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need and has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in them? And so there's a heart and an action that we're supposed to have to those that are materially poor. But also, there's many scriptures that speak to us, not just doing things for them, but coming alongside them, doing things with people. And again, honoring and dignifying them and equipping them and discipling them to take ownership in their life that God desires. So that's a tough needle to thread at times.
Well, and I think is seeing the most valuable thing that we have to offer being the gospel of Jesus Christ. And not seeing the poverty as the issue, but maybe sin issues that are closely related to poverty that we could be just as likely to be struggling with as they are, if that makes sense. And so when we come back to the lens of the gospel being the main thing that we have to offer, it keeps us from putting ourselves in a position of savior or having a less dignifying viewpoint of them, because we've received the same gospel. We, in every sense, we are the same poor that they are. Correct.
No, that's good. So I'm sure if you're listening, part of the ministry, you do feel the tension of that, and hopefully Isaiah 61 is just hopefully more than anything, just a gentle reminder of, I think, ultimately who we're called to be in a ministry like this, but also recognizing who God is and what He's capable of doing and how He wants to work in and through people, even those that the world would look upon and say they just need us. They need us to save them, but really what they need is a Savior to come alongside them. And we're to encourage them to that end. So, in light of that, we are going to have a strong focus on when we talk about poverty as we go throughout the rest of this podcast, so focusing on materially poor. So again, U.S. government defines poverty essentially just by this number. Again, a family of one, right around 15,000 is what you make annually. Family of four, 33,000, and then it varies in between. And so, and if you are to come to our training, you'll hear us talk about how we want to support families that are materially poor and things that we do to help them secure, better housing and a better job. We're working towards those things. And at times we even help out through the church, helping out with rent or whatever it may be. And
I spent multiple hours last week working on a workflow for how to get families connected to resources in a better way. Those things matter.
Anyways, there's been, and if you've been to our training, we don't talk about it this much. There's some trainings where we don't even talk about it at all, but it's always hard to say, success sequence done by the Brookings Institute over many years. The Brookings Institute did this research on trying to understand poverty and why people end up in it. You mind sharing what the research shows there? Do you remember some of the numbers?
Yeah, hopefully I won't butcher it. So if you do these three things, you have less than a 2% chance of
I think it's changed to 3 now.
Okay, less than
97%
chance
success
of ever
rate.
ending up in poverty, including being controlled for if you come from generational poverty yourself. It is graduate high school, wait until you're married to have kids, and be 21. Is that always tied in?
Yeah. Wait till you're 21 to get married and then have kids after that. Yeah.
And then work full-time job. So any full-time job, McDonald's, whatever it is, work 40 hours a week.
Yeah. So if you do that, then there's a 97% success rate that you won't end up in poverty. And then it goes on to say that once you hit your mid-30s, which they consider ages 32 to 38, you will be in the middle class.
Yeah.
And not that the middle class is the end-all, be-all,
right.
but that's an indicator that there's been a progression towards being more financially stable than what you once were. Yeah. So if you were to get, and what's it, there's been, I think, there's seemingly this effort to try to knock some of the research behind the success sequence. And I think there is some validation to some of the things that they bring up within it. But this goes across, this kind of covers all gamuts, that if you do this, no matter, again, kind of you alluded to this, the background you grew up in, the race, whatever it may be, you're finding great success. So what they found is, to go into greater detail, there's a 95% or 96% success rate with blacks, 97%, so millennials. Specifically what they found, that they study millennials, 96% success rate with black millennials ending up in middle class, and not falling.
If they follow the success.
It's 97% for Latinos. What they also found is that there's this is shocking, 95% success rate if you do those three things, even if you grew up in a lower income family. And so it's like, there's something to
statistically
this.
significant.
Yeah, it is statistically significant.
Yeah. And I will, you can finish your thought if you want first.
No, go for it, yeah.
One thing I've been thinking about as we're having this conversation, because it's all over the news right now, because they're
in Ohio,
in Ohio, because they've passed this bill saying, they've almost passed it, saying that this needs taught in schools, that you're more likely to succeed if you do
these things. Take a look at the study.
It's not saying you have to do these things, it's saying if you do these things, you're more likely to end up successful or not in poverty. And one comparison I was making in my mind, because I think people have big feelings about this, because it does, a statistic like this is wise and a good leader, and we have to still be compassionate to individual stories where, man, I did all of those things and I'm in the 3%. And sometimes those stories, I think, can be elevated to be the whole story.
Correct.
And we're not gonna teach this because it's forgetting the story of this individual who did it all right and still ended up in a hard situation. And so I think we need to be compassionate to those stories that are outliers, that do still end up in poverty, even though they did all the right things. But we have to still teach the big statistic. That would be like saying, I'm not going to teach kids that smoking leads to lung cancer because I know somebody who got lung cancer anyways. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's good enough.
And I think that we can have great compassion for the people who were just absolutely got the snot kicked out of them by life and ended up in that situation even though they tried their hardest.
Yeah, there could be some outside circumstances out of their control.
Yes.
That really impacted their ability.
Yes, but how foolish to not say that smoking leads to lung cancer, because sometimes we get it without it. And how foolish to say, let's not even tell kids that there's the massive likelihood they could be more successful if they do these three things, because we know that sometimes it doesn't work. I just think there's like a comparison there where we can balance that compassion for the individual with, we're still going to teach the wise way. Yeah,
which I think that ties in really well with one of the first maybe questions of response I have to understanding the research done by the Brookings Institute with the success sequence, is what is our encouragement as My Village Ministries? What's our encouragement to that host family and coach and ultimately the church when they're serving families that have not accomplished that? Yeah. You know what I mean? And the future looks a little bleak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because maybe they didn't accomplish any of those three.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's our encouragement to them? Do you have any response to that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's always important to have a lens towards everybody that we meet in life that we maybe think isn't on as good of a path as we are. But for the grace of God, there go I.
Yeah.
That we have a strong understanding of the graciousness of the Lord that has allowed us to be in the situation we're in, that then hopefully removes our desire to judge those who are not in the situation we're in. This family that you're interacting with, maybe they did make every single one of those three decisions the wrong way.
Yep.
And that's okay. That's where they're at right now.
Yep.
And all we can do is meet somebody where they're at right
Yep.
now. And their story is not over. And we can have great compassion for what their story is and know that we serve a God that is a redeemer and a restorer.
Yeah.
And that we are blessed to maybe, if we've made those three decisions, quote unquote, correctly, we're blessed to have done that because through our circumstances and the saving relationship that we have with Jesus. But their family's not over.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong.
And they're not less than in any way.
And they're not less than. And it's not wrong that we know that those three things will help them be successful. It's not wrong of us. We're not judging them. Does that make sense? Yep. And there can be great hope too for the next generation of that family. Most of the families we're serving, well, all of the families have kids at play too who have not turned 18 and started to make those three decisions. Correct. And is there a way that because they're now in the community of Jesus Christ, they get to know some of those possibilities for their family in the next generation too?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's very well said. And I think there's also an encouragement. This really builds off, I think, pretty well off of what Eugene talked about, especially initially in the podcast, where we got to rethink how we define poverty.
Yeah.
It is more, when we think of it as Christians, we should think of it more than just being materially poor. And again, that's what the success sequence focuses on, is that, again, that poverty line.
Yeah.
It's mainly rooted in finances and where your financial situation is. But again, many of these families that we are serving are not just financially poor, but socially poor. They're not just socially poor, but they could be socially bankrupt. And so they, again, are isolated. And what we do have to offer them, we may not be able to come alongside them in a way that rectifies their whole financial situation. But what we for sure can be used by God in their life is to be the community that is needed, so that they're no longer either socially bankrupt or socially poor. They can be socially rich because of the community that you have to offer them as a church. And that's not a small thing. Yeah. And Eugene highlighted that, I think, pretty well.
Yeah.
That there is part of coming out of poverty is being in right relationship with God and people, and having healthy relationships with people and also with God, with Christ and his bride. And that is something unique that we have to offer, is Christ and his bride to those that are socially oftentimes poor or absolutely bankrupt.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
It is. And if it were as simple as the dollar line that
Correct.
puts you out of poverty or in poverty, then why wouldn't programs that just give you enough money to meet that line, why wouldn't that just fix the whole problem?
Yeah.
If it were simply a financial problem.
Yeah.
There is a relational piece that is much more impactful even than the dollar amount.
Yep.
And actually, there are communities living in poverty, to use Eugene's example again, that are, because they're so relationally healthy, they don't feel the pinch. They're living communally so well in a way that is sharing, supporting one another's needs. They're replacing that margin you lose by not having extra money in your paycheck.
Yep.
They're replacing that margin with social capital.
Correct.
Where, I don't have after school care for my kids, can't afford after school care for my kids, but I have a rich community.
Yeah.
And so a neighbor or a family member is helping me in those ways.
Yeah, and I think what's important to note too, especially those families that we're blessed to serve that know Jesus or come to know Jesus, what you see a lot of times, if not most of the time, is what James talks about, where those that are poor in the eyes of the world are rich in faith. Mm-hmm. And so there's a richness that they have that we may be missing out on, that we need to be challenged by. There's a dependency that they have on the Lord that we sometimes lack because we oftentimes are too dependent on where our financial stability is.
Yeah.
And that's something we need to be challenged by.
Yeah.
And again, that we when we see that in them, that's something we should be encouraged and challenged by. But how do we leverage that in their life? How do we encourage them in that way? It's something interesting to think about, because I think there's things that we can do to encourage them.
Well, do you think it would be hard for us to do that well if we haven't figured out any of our own dependency on the Lord?
Oh, for sure.
Like, if we're going to leverage that in them, and I talked about this a little bit with Eugene, how we have this innate longing to get back to good, to solve a problem, to take away pain. But if all of our own lives are aimed at, I don't want to have any weakness, even though I know God's power is made perfect in my weakness.
Yep.
So I'm spending all my time trying to become self-reliant.
Yep.
Am I really, if I don't have my own dependency on the Lord, am I ever going to be able to encourage somebody to see that as a strength and actually a dignifying piece of their life?
Yep. Now, in light of this, the thing that I don't want to be is dismissive of their situation either. Yeah. And us just saying, well, we can't help them with their finances in any way, but what we have to offer is community, and because of that, they're going to be more socially rich. Mm-hmm. I don't want to then, again, be dismissive of where their financial health is, if that makes sense. And not that being in the middle class is the end-all, be-all, but if we could assist them and serve them in a way that does do things for them from time to time, but empowers them to become more financially healthy and stable, that will help them if and when they hit that next trial. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we can't downplay that. We live in a system, in a structure where finances do matter.
Yeah.
And if some of these people had a little bit more financial security, if that makes sense, mm-hmm. it would bode well for them. And so we don't want to be dismissive of that and just say, well, we can't help there, but what we can offer is community. Well, as we offer them community and as we build healthy relationships, I believe that the Lord will provide opportunities for us to encourage them, help them, and equip them to become a little bit more financially stable, and maybe to where they're outside of the poverty line, which would, I think, be a big win. And we want to fight for that. Yeah. And one thing I think we can do to fight for that is to have a long-term kind of vision, a goal. How do our churches serve these families well, even if that parent doesn't, or parents check off all those 3 boxes. Mm-hmm. And you alluded to this, it's the kids. Yeah. The kids that our churches have been blessed to serve, to host, and to care for. There's an opportunity, especially for those that have ongoing relationship with them. And so what is your vision for them 5, 10, 15 years down the road? And I hope all of our churches, anyone that listens to this, is really challenged to think of, and to actually sit down, maybe put pen to paper, and definitely pray, what is our vision as a church to love and support and care for these kids, knowing that they're going to be a family 5, 10, 15 years down the road. And one of the great easy outlets is the mentoring program. We have almost 20 kids that are waiting right now. Yeah. Ben and I talked about this, right?
I think there's technically 26.
20, yeah, it's north of 20 that are saying that are school age now.
They've been hosted.
They've been hosted.
At the church.
And their parents and the kids are like, man, I'd love to have a mentor.
Yeah.
And this is where there's a unique opportunity to continue to, not just through host families and coaches, to provide ongoing support, but man, great support, care, and love, and discipleship and mentoring to these kids that are saying, I want it.
Yeah.
And so I just want to challenge you churches, man, step up, rally the church, communicate well the need, cast that vision well, and don't be afraid to specifically call people out saying, I think you can do this. Yeah. To continue to invest in this family that we've already invested a lot in. Yeah. There's an opportunity that we have for these kids here's what I love about the mentoring program. This is what we're thinking and dreaming about. Man, so Ben and Peyton have done a great job of building a solid mentoring program. Yeah. And we have awesome mentors that are investing in the lives of these kids. And they're building this great foundation that's essentially discipleship, that's built on Christ and His Word. And we're beginning to ask ourselves these questions. We're doing this well. What else? Mm-hmm. And we think the success sequence, the principles behind it, can be a great thing that we build off of that foundation. Yeah. So we want to spend time with these kids, teaching and casting vision and equipping them, providing opportunities for them to think about what marriage looks like, and for them to wait until they have a kid, to graduate high school.
To think about what they might want their job to be.
What their job to be. And it may not be college, it may be a vocation. And if it's a vocation, is there a way that we can connect them with our social health our network, to connect them with someone
this guy with this business, and he's taking interns this summer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we're thinking, dreaming, and praying a lot about what the success sequence can look like within the mentoring program. Any comments before maybe I share more there?
Well, I was going to say also there's this opportunity they're having in relationship where they don't have to be in survival brain all the time, and they could vision cast and dream about their future alongside a mentor. So beyond even like the social capital and the job training or whatever it ends up looking like, there's this space in their brain to think about, I know that I'm safe and loved here, and I can dream about what my future might be. That can be lost for those who have been through enough trauma or are in severe poverty or just living in survival, where they can only think a little bit ahead of them. But now here's the space in my brain to think ahead. And I think what I love so much because there are a lot of mentorship programs out there, and I hope they're thinking about things like the success sequence. But the thing that I love about our mentorship program is the opportunity for the kid to have this one-on-one mentor and also access to this family structure that they've had through their host family.
Correct.
And so not only are they getting this intentional one-on-one time that's for them, they also are having modeled for them, this is what a father and mother look like in the home. This is what a healthy marriage structure looks like. I don't think I've told this story on the podcast, but you can stop me if I have.
Doesn't hurt to repeat.
The Watson family hosted a little girl a number of years ago, and she was so affected by how Josh Watson was living his life for his family, with his family, and it was so fundamentally different than what she had ever viewed before. Her mom had been in a few domestic violence situations, and there was a day where, after watching Josh come and go to work every single day for a while, he left for work and she came up to Allie. She's about 9 years old. She came up to Allie and she was like, he goes to work every day? And Allie was like, yep. And she was like, and he always comes home? And Allie was like, yep. She was like, does he share his money with you? And Allie was like,
does.
Yeah. She's like, I actually get most of it. And then she said, and you like him? And I was like, yep. And it was, I don't think we always realize when we're hosting kids in our home for a short period of time or a mentor for them, that they might be seeing something that they've never seen before. And that they might remember when they're choosing a husband someday to pick somebody who's going to go to work every day and then come home every day and then share their money with you and then someone be like there is a fundamental impact that we can have on young people in the next generation by providing a view of the family as a whole structure and then digging in individually in relationship through mentorship and giving them the opportunity to dream about what their future might be. And I think that's what gets me most excited about the mentorship is they're hearing the gospel and they're getting an opportunity to build a future for themselves and what their family might be that could be different than what they've experienced.
And we got to play the long game. We got to be patient and knowing that, man, the seeds have been planted. How do we continue to water these seeds through like a holistic approach of discipleship? And we think this is going to bring it to the mentoring program. And again, our hope and prayer and belief is that if our churches are really doing well, continue to walk alongside a family in all these ways, and by the way of a mentor, these kids, as we go back to as we talk about the family vitality spectrum, we believe and trust that these kids are going to start further up in the spectrum. They're not just starting off and preserving, but they're maybe starting off flourishing because of the investment that the church has had in them and have discipled them well. And so there's a great, how many kids now have we served over the years?
I was just counting.
300 and...
for the whole ministry? 703. I just counted this week. The mentorship.
I don't know where I got 300 from. Was that last year? I don't know.
No.
I'm just making stuff
you
up.
served,
Just
you
making
just
stuff
doubled
up.
up.
Yeah. Holy. No, that's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids.
A lot of kids.
I think the mentorship is over 40 or 50, something like that.
I think so.
Yeah. Which is, some of them have been in mentorship since 2020.
Yeah.
So years and years now that they've been in a relationship.
So anyways, know that we're working on our end to figure out how can we continue to serve the church to engage in families in this way. And we're thinking about how we can equip our mentors specifically to think about the success sequence with the kids that they're investing in. They're discipling well. They really are.
Yeah.
We're just wanting to give them a little bit more tools and assistance as they do that well. We want their longevity to be excellent.
Yeah,
and we believe this will help with that.
Yes, and to come back like very specifically to the topic of material poverty, you know, I just said a lot of things that were about maybe family structure or like holistic thriving or hearing the gospel, being in church community, all of those things. But if we look at the Brookings Institute research, what we're saying is that these kids will physically not be in material poverty if they're able to learn these things now, which I think is really exciting. If every community were willing to play the long game in this way, would we see an impact on the poverty numbers worldwide in a way that the government and a program would not be able to do, if that makes sense.
And again, that's not the end all, that's not the end game. But let's acknowledge that's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And it's important, and we're going to pursue that.
Yes.
And because what's also true is those three principles are biblical.
Yeah.
Like they reflect God's heart in so many ways. For us to be hard workers, for us to, you know what I mean? Provide for our family. Marriage is something sacred. It's a covenant.
Seek wisdom. I mean, probably like graduating high school wasn't in the Bible, but there's a lot of talking about wisdom.
Correct, and knowledge. Those things are good things. They're not bad things. They're not evil things. They are good things.
Yeah.
And so let's just, when we make disciples, we are told to teach them everything that I've commanded you. Yeah. So teach them to obey everything I've commanded, and really those things fit into that. So it's a way for us. It's just a way for us to tangibly, to continue to tangibly love our families well and extend compassion. This is just another part of the holistic piece that we're wanting to offer the church as they walk alongside families well. So hopefully that's an encouragement to y'all. Churches, we're going to come back for another round of this where Mel's going to be really taking the lead.
Yeah, we'll see if it's worse or better.
Yeah, tomorrow's the next day.
Tomorrow's the next day.